My name is Afua, a recovering fistula patient. It all started at a tender age of 14. I was giving away for marriage to my daddy's friend, whom I soon got pregnant for. We lived in a village far from town. My village folk were very supportive and always there for me. At least, I thought so. It seemed like all was well until I went into labor. It was around 6 p.m. on a Sunday. My God, the pain! The people in the village insisted I give birth at home, and that those who deliver at the clinic or hospital are not woman enough. Wanting to be recognized as one, I bore the pain. After many hours of pain and agony, I still couldn't deliver. I was giving some herbs to hasten the process, and for many hours, our traditional birth attendants tried all she could, but to no avail. She suggested I must be made to confess. Probably, I have offended the spirits by being unfaithful to my husband. After many failed processes, the decision was finally made to get me to the medical center. By then, it was late in the night and I was very exhausted. So was my baby. And daylight took forever to appear. I was put on a bicycle in the morning to begin our 15-kilometer journey to the clinic. Some distance into our journey, we met a good Samaritan with a car who conveyed us to town. On arrival, I was taken in immediately. The midwife at post said my pelvis wasn't wide enough for the baby to come through, and that I needed a cesarean section. I therefore got transferred to the district hospital. Unfortunately, I lost my baby. However, that wasn't the only issue. The doctor said I had developed what's called an obstetric fistula. This was the beginning of my misery. What is an obstetric fistula? I asked.
Obstetric fistula is a childbirth injury that leaves women unable to control urine and/or feces. When a pregnant woman has been in labor for a prolonged period, typically for more than 24 hours, the pressure of the baby's head on the tissue between it and the pelvic bone start to cause a reduction in blood flow to the underlying tissue. When this condition stays persistent for a period, the underlying tissue starts to die slowly. It goes through various stages till it finally dies, breaks apart and forms a hole in the area under pressure. This hole typically occurs between the vagina and the bladder and is known as vesicovaginal fistula (VVF), and/or develops between the vagina and the rectum, and that's known as rectovaginal fistula (RVF). Any woman who suffers from this injury after childbirth will not be able to control urine and/or feces from flowing through this hole, then through the vagina. The patient will leak urine and feces uncontrollably. Both VVF and RVF are results of obstructed labor due to the reason the pelvis being too small or narrow and the baby just simply can't pass through, or when a woman is unable to deliver her baby safely or cannot access a cesarean section.
A week after returning home from the hospital, my husband divorced me. He said a consultation with the spirits told him I was a cursed one. To make matters worse, nobody, including my own family, would take me in. The obstetric fistula left me leaking urine and feces uncontrollably onto myself, and due to that, I always stunk, no matter how often I washed. The bad treatments got worse as I was called names and branded a witch. I had no choice but to leave the village. I settled on the outskirts of the village where I grew some onions to make a living. But people stopped buying from me. They said I smell and that my produce is not wholesome and hygienic. I therefore had no income, so I had to start begging for alms and food. Being young, Some men wanted to court me, others wanting to take advantage of my situation, but they all quickly left. They found my condition repulsive, so I always lived alone. I had been with this obstetric fistula for over 4 years. My journey towards salvation began when on my begging rounds one day and heard on the radio from a car about this obstetric fistula. They described my condition as if they lived with me. I cried while listening, for only I knew what I had been going through. I visited the center the next day, reluctantly, for fear I might be asked to pay. But then, the news was good. I never knew this obstetric fistula could be fixed. Thanks to the obstetric fistula treatment program, I have undergone surgery and in the process of healing now. I paid nothing. In addition, I'm also receiving training in soap making so I can regain my dignity by making my own income. Efforts are currently underway to help heal the relationship between me and my family, thanks to the same program.
Obstetric fistula is a medical condition. It's neither a curse nor a sign of infidelity. Let's stop the stigma against our women suffering from this injury. Let's put a stop to early, forced and childhood marriage. Remember, obstetric fistula is curable. Let's end obstetric fistula now.